What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Nick Bartlett Show. And today we got a mailbag question. It's from Danny in Issaquah, Washington. Let me adjust my chair a little bit, guys. It's from Danny in Issaquah, Washington, and it's gonna involve the Oregon UW rivalry. So I'll read it. Let's get straight to it. And I always want to say, guys, seriously, thank you for your questions. Always a lot of fun for me to answer. It's kind of your experience is what this is all about. You know, the fans. It's what makes it fun for me. So, yeah. Stop sucking up. No. In all seriousness, note, the question reads, I'm reading some really good things about Kalen DeBoer. Fresno State almost beat Oregon at Autzen last year, and he's recruiting lights out. How long before he blows the Duckies out of the water? And it's from Danny in Issaquah, Washington. And again, there was a lot of commentary there, but the question is from Danny in Issaquah, Washington. And here we'll start with the commentary, and then I'll get to the actual question. So it goes. I'm reading some really good things about Kalen DeBoer. Fresno State almost beat Oregon at Autzen last year, and he's recruiting lights out. And the actual question is, how long will it take for essentially UW to blow out Oregon? I'm just going to kind of get straight to the point. That's probably not going to happen unless there's a massive drop-off of, unless there's a massive drop-off of talent for either program. I just feel that's very, very unlikely. Let me pull my notes here. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially the first thing I had in my notes. Oregon has the most consistent program outside of Utah. I think that does need to be recognized and respected. Obviously, it didn't turn out so well for Ducks fans at the end of last year. Obviously, the Utes give them a lot of credit. That's a really good team. But Oregon is a team on that great elite border, and that is something that does need to be respected. Obviously, they're not quite at Alabama or I don't know what the heck did I say, Penn State, Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State, but they're not far off. They can be in that same breath. It's a very light breath. It's not maybe not the same breath, but maybe the step below, and that's a really good place to be, and that's really dominant. And UW isn't quite there at this moment. They're just not. At least this season. We'll see how it plays out. A lot of influx changes in talent coming in, which I'll get to here in a second. But to expect a blowout, that just doesn't feel realistic to me, Danny. And I like to, probably poke fun at all Pac-12 teams evenly, just, because I love them all so much. But you got to give Oregon their respect. They've been holding it down, again, with the exception of Utah. They've really been doing good things. So if you're just looking at the last kind of the last 5 or 6 games in this series, UW had a couple really nice outings, which I'll get to, and I think that's probably maybe that's why you asked this question, Danny, because you just wanted me to read the scores of those games. But let's just get straight to the numbers. So in 2021, Oregon wins 26-16. In 2019, Oregon wins 35-31. In 2018, Oregon wins 30-27. And here's the two kind of games that maybe you're referencing, Danny. Probably a lot of UW fans referencing. In 2017, Washington wins 38-3, and in 2016, Washington wins 70-21. But before that, Oregon won 12 games in a row prior. 12 games in a row prior. So that's a really, really strong statement. Yeah, come on. So again, just to have this expectation of a blowout, I'm going to stop there. I don't want to keep harping on the point. But to have the expectation of blowing out Oregon, to me, just doesn't feel realistic. The next thing I want to kind of touch on here, because I do want to give you a little bit more than that, Danny. What we can do here is kind of a light game preview. Everything's going to change before the November 12th matchup. But I can kind of give you just a little lighthearted fun, see, what may or may not happen in terms of just matchups on the field, that sort of thing, positional groups, just a little touch up. So let's see here. Gonna get a lot of notes going, guys. So if you're just looking at the Washington offense in full, you've probably done this, Dan. I mean, this is your team, Dan. You know what you got. It's not like a lot outside of Michael Penix Jr., and that's assuming he can stay healthy. I know Jalen McMillan, a lot of people are excited about him. Rome Odunze. But to me, neither of those guys are like elite wideouts. So you really don't have a lot in terms of offense of just firepower, really. There's no other way to say it. And I was listening, I am based out of Seattle, Shoreline, really. But that's North Seattle for, those not in the region. Sorry, regional reference there. But I do listen, local radio, and they have a Wayne, how do we say his last name? Talapapa, or Talapopo. He's projected right now as the leading running back. Offense coordinator Ryan Grubb said that in a radio interview. But is that who you're going to hang your hat on? So you're not really looking at a lot offensively unless one of these receivers really step up. Again, I know there's not a lot of hype, but a little bit of talk about Jalen McMillan, but that's not really enough for me offensively. Kind of looking at their defense. Actually, let's look at a couple more things offensively. There's not too much depth on the offensive line either. Obviously, you got Jackson Kirkland, left tackle, two-time All-Pac-12. But then you got Victor Kern, switching to a new position. Think he should be able to hold it down all right. But then Henry Binavalu. So you got, sorry, I totally missed that last name. But you got two two-year starters there, but that's not too much. And so offensively, again, you're looking at this unit top to bottom. Where's the playmakers going to come from? The offensive line shouldn't be terrible, but it shouldn't be like, it's nothing that that looks phenomenal on paper, at least at this point. UW always has some talent. Need to see how that plays out in the field, but just on paper. Again, this is a very, very light preview. You're hopping over to the defensive side of the ball now. So on offense, again, you're looking at a team, not a lot of playmakers. Again, unless Michael Penix Jr. really steps up, which he could. Not saying that's impossible. Have a lot of respect, again, for UW's program and the talent they bring in. It's not, it's a good program, and I have respect for that. On defense, though, I don't really need to look at all the notes here. You know your whole defense. I think just on a general basis, people love offense. UW's defense is basically depending on whether it's two injuries. If two guys can come back, they can be really good, and that's ZTF. If he can, come back from injury and be freaking dominant, then UW could be all right. They could be pretty fun to watch on defense, as well as Edufon Ulofi. Oh boy, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not even gonna try this right now. But again, so if he comes back as well, I really wanted to get that last name right, but I'm just giving up right on that one. But again, so if he can come back as well, you have two really dominant players, and that could change things, especially at the college level, particularly in your front seven. You got to replace, a couple players in your secondary. And, the one player I did want to say is I'm curious to see, before I hop to the secondary, how will Cam Bright kind of perform at linebacker? He put up some stats at Pitt, transfer from Pitt, but they are going to probably just need one more kind of consistent piece in the middle. There's probably a couple other players, but again, just I want to see another maybe playmaker rise. Carson Bruner really solid last year. He's a good one. But if Cam Bright could really add another element, this defense could be really, really solid. But that's even gone a little bit too deep again for this early. Again, we're just looking at Mr. Edufon, because I'm giving up on his last name right now, and a ZTF. If they're healthy, your defense is going to be really good. And the secondary, I think we all know is in shambles. I mean, there's a couple names you're looking at. Alex Cook and Asa Turner are veteran safeties, and I don't mean to disrespect them, but you lost Trent McDuffie and Kyler Gordon. So if you're looking at UW top to bottom, you're looking at a team that's probably not going to have a good secondary. Or at least, I shouldn't say that. I should not say they probably won't have a good secondary. What I can say is that not many proven playmakers. But Jimmy Lake did, probably recruit a lot of these guys, and he was a phenomenal secondary coach. So UW could be decent, we'll say, decent. And in the front seven, you're kind of depending on really two guys to come back from injury. So that's going to be, that's a lot to ask, particularly on offense where we're not seeing many big playmakers. So that's a quick rundown, Danny. Do you like me right now? I don't know if you do. But again, this is just looking at, I still think UW's going to be decent. This is just kind of comparing them to the Duckies, that who you would like to blow out of the water is how you phrase the question, right? So, and now we're looking at Oregon, another team here, of course. The thing for them is they actually this year aren't super talented. I mean, they are super talented. That was not the best way to phrase that. But Bo Nix isn't really proven in terms of, I don't want to say he isn't proven. Whenever I talk to people about Bo Nix, it always feels like there's something that people just don't believe in. feels like he may be overrated. Just not a guy that people want to get behind and support, and I don't know what that is. It's just a feeling I get from interviewing one or two guys or like a guy, and then I also heard another thing again on local radio. So just maybe a couple of red flags. Kind of like a Jacob Eason situation for UW. If there's a nice reference for you, if you've been following me for a while, you know he was probably one of my least favorite players. So obviously I know he won a couple games. But back to the question at hand here. You're looking at Cardwell at running back, and he's really explosive. But in terms of every down plays, I don't know if he's that guy. Again, he has that explosive element. But you lost Travis Dye for the Ducks. Receiver, again, just not too many proven playmakers. You got Chase Cota, transfer from UCLA, and you got another guy from Texas A&M. And so it's just like Oregon is kind of in a similar boat as UW, but this is kind of where it differs, and this is important, and I want you to hear this, Danny, because sometimes the truth may hurt a little bit. If you're looking at the Ducks offensive line, you got a guy named TJ Bass, who's a killer. Basically, he's good at everything. Stephen Jones, another phenomenal player at left tackle. Alex Forsyth, who could arguably be the best center in the league. Ryan Walk, another very, very good guard. And Malasele, another name I'm not even going to try and pronounce, who's another prospect on the offensive line. And this line was built by Mario Cristobal, and his specialty was like offensive line. So for kind of to put it better into your terms, Danny, how Jimmy Lake had that pedigree of secondaries for UW, Mario Cristobal had that pedigree for offensive lines, and he basically left this now to a coach who just was a part of a national championship team. So I think he may be able to do something with that, And so furthering kind of looking here on the defense side of the ball, the Ducks defense should be really, really good. There's a guy named Brandon Dorless. He's he can really play anywhere on the line. Let's say that he's dominant. People may question his positional listing. Then you got Popo Amave at nose and Keanu Ware-Hudson. So they have a bunch of really good players on the defensive line. Obviously at linebacker you got Noah Sewell, and a lot of people are curious if Justin Flo can come back from injury, as well as Mace Funa. So they really have some good linebackers. The one place that Oregon isn't as deep as they were, I would say, at least I feel as deep as they were last year, is in their secondary. Not too many players. I believe they have a transfer in Christian Gonzalez from Colorado. So that could be the one area that maybe UW could expose in the game. So I don't want to give you too much more than that. If you want a couple more names out of their secondary, my dude D, it'd be, I already said Christian Gonzalez. You got Dante Manning, who could be another cornerback out there. Not really highly touted, but again, he's a Duck, so he's probably really good. And Bennett Williams, who's a safety who was missing some injury, or he missed some time from injury, and he's going to be back. So if you're looking at the Ducks top to bottom, just a phenomenal defensive front seven and a massive offensive line, they do have some questions. So when it comes to UW versus Oregon this year, the teams are actually maybe closer than you think. Obviously, again, so much can change before the game. It's much later in the season. Here, I want to check how long I've been talking. I don't want to keep you here all day. Yeah, so we're working on 13 minutes here. I'm about to wrap it up pretty quick here. But yeah, just to kind of give you, again, I want to summarize and just kind of summarize both teams really quickly for you. So, one, Danny, no, it's not going to happen. That's because you're not going to blow the Ducks out of the water this year, next year, probably anytime in the near future. That's just my gut feeling. Again, you never know. UW did have that really good 2-game stint. I believe it was 2016 and 17. So, it is possible. But if you're looking at just this game's matchup this early and this light on, you can say that UW has a lot of questions on offense. They have a decent offensive line, and really you're hoping that Wayne T or Jalen McMillan steps up as some big playmakers, maybe a Dunze. Obviously Michael Penix Jr. You're really hoping someone steps up, but there are a lot of questions offensively. It should be all right against, maybe some of the lesser teams in the conference, but against Oregon, they could be exposed against that vicious front seven. And you're looking at UW's defense now, and again, just you're really depending on injury. I do not know why. I still can't say his name. Uloficio. I tried. Sorry, that sounded disrespectful. My bad. My bad, Eddie Fawn. But so it's like you're depending on him and ZTF, and again, that's just a lot of question marks. Really like what Carson Bruner did last year, but again, you lost Kyler Gordon and Trent McDuffie, and you're not gonna be able to replace that. Do you know who Asa Turner and Alex Cook are? because I don't even know if I said those names right. I want to double check them, but I'm going to trust my gut. So that's what I'm saying, guys. It's like UW may not be as deep as you would like to believe this year. They're not terrible. Again, not terrible. And then you're hopping over to Oregon. You're looking at a team that really just has a lot of questions at quarterback. Probably not a consistent running back. You know, but they do have a line and a really, really good line. And if you're looking at one team's biggest strength in the game, you gotta say it's that. And if Oregon can control the line of scrimmage, Bo Nix doesn't really have to do a lot, or maybe miss some passes, or maybe miss some questionable throws. On top of that, you're looking at just proven playmakers on Oregon's defense in the front seven. So I would have to give the slight edge to Oregon this year. If Michael Penix Jr. just comes on and just is absolute phenom, stays healthy, and just just takes over. Obviously, UW can do new things, new coaching staff, new offensive system, new OC. Things are brand new, but my gut feeling this early, again, you have to understand how early this is, that Oregon's going to win this in a slight, I'd say like a 27-17 game, something like that, something along those lines. So yeah, I think that about does it. If there's anything else, let's see here. Oh, I did want to talk to you about Issaquah, since I am from Shoreline. Dude, you did it right, Danny. I love Issaquah. It's actually like out of all those like east side cities, Issaquah is the place to be. I used to coach at Newport. I used to coach AAU basketball at Newport High School. High school. It's in Bellevue, and so I spent a lot of time in Issaquah, Sammamish, and I really liked Issaquah. Except you guys are a little bit too close to nature. Maybe you maybe have to actually watch out for some cougars out there. So just be a little bit careful in those woods. In all seriousness, Issaquah is absolutely beautiful. My favorite place on the east side by far. Love whenever I can get out there. Specifically, go do some hiking out in that direction. I love stopping Issaquah along the way. So yeah, thank you for your question, Danny. And I think I've summarized a lot, but again, just like 2 seconds. UW's probably not going to blow out Oregon. And in this year's game, both teams do have a lot of question marks. It's still way, way too early. But if I had to make a pick, it'd be Oregon. I think I said 27-17 or something close to that. Thank you for your question, Danny. Y'all have a good freaking weekend. And hey, college football is officially back. I believe that Nebraska lost already. I know it's not Pac-12 related, but that's what I think it's on Twitter. That's what I think everyone's been saying. So, guys, thank you for your question. Y'all have a great day, and adios.